Hello, my name is Avraham Hermon. I went by Avi Herman back in the day when I was in school. I went to the Jewish day school, kindergarten class of 1983. I was there from first, second, and third grade, and then again sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. And I'm going to give a presentation today about shofar, but not just any shofar. We have a number of shofarot from different animals. Most of the shofarot that we're going to talk about today are shofarot that I made. I live in Israel in the Shomron, in a community called Har Bracha, and some of these are from animals that I found, and others are from horns that I was given. So let's talk a little bit about shofar. First of all, what animal does a shofar have to come from? And the answer is any kosher animal. And any animal that is kosher to eat that has a horn can be used for shofar. So except for one, there's one exception, which is a cow. Cow horn cannot be used. We have a number of different animals represented here. Any animal that's kosher, that has split hooves and chews its cud, that has a horn, not an antler, can be used for shofar. So I will start with the standard ram's horn. Now, ram is an adult sheep. This is a shofar. This is my first shofar, and I bought it. And I actually have been using this one to blow in the Beit Knesset, in the synagogue, for the last many years on Rosh Hashanah. It's not too big, not too heavy. And here's how it sounds. I'm going to give a try. I like it because it's nice and loud. Makes a pretty clean sound. I have to practice a little bit more to get even a cleaner sound. That's a ram's horn. I like to run, and during my runs, one time I came across a goat. Someone raised goats, and unfortunately there was a dead goat that I found on my run. And when looking at it, I noticed that it had horns, and the horns actually easily came off. And this is a shofar made out of a goat horn. And what I did was I took the horn home. The inside, which is a bone, comes out, and I was able to cut off the end and drill a hole, and then make the hole a little bit wider. Let's hear it. It sounds very different from the ram's horn that we just blew. It's a little bit harder to blow. Let's try it. It's not a bad sound. It's a little bit higher than the ram's horn. That's a goat. The next shofar that is part of my collection is from a gazelle. And here I was also running near where I live, and there are gazelles that live here. One gazelle died, and I saw its skull, and on the skull there were two horns attached, and one of the horns looked like this. Here you see a full gazelle horn. And if you haven't seen a gazelle looks a little bit like a deer. And what I did was I waited for it to dry out a little bit. And the inside bone, I was able to put a screw inside it. And you could actually take out the bone from inside. And this is the part essentially that is alive of the... This was alive, and this is sort of like a shell, hard shell. And the other horn, what I did was you could tell that I cut it down quite a bit to the part that I was able to drill a hole in it and make it wider. This is a gazelle horn shofar. Let's hear. It also sounds a little bit different than the two that we've heard so far. I was making a presentation about shofar to a group of people that came from outside of Israel to visit. And I was teaching them about shofar, and I showed them how to blow shofar, and I showed them my different horns. One of the people was from South Africa, and she lived near a place that had kudu, which is a large animal that has this impressive horn. And she went back to South Africa, and after about a year, she had this horn sent to me. And she said that I could make a shofar out of it. So I took the horn, it's kind of a long horn, and I straightened out the end a little bit. And after straightening that out the end, drilled a hole in it. It was kind of tricky because it's a pretty big piece of horn. It was very curved at the end. And the way to straighten it out was to heat it up, to put it in a very hot place. I used coals to heat it up, and then used tools to straighten it out. And then once you straighten it out, you could start drilling a hole in it, because most of the horn is hollow, but the very end is not hollow. So you need to somehow hollow it out. And the way we did that was heating it, straightening it, and then drilling a hole in it. So I had to have an actually very long drill bit, and I drilled about this far into it to make that hole. This has also a different sound because of its size, quite a different sound than the other horns. So I'm going to blow the shofar, and then let me know what you think. All right. Makes a nice sound. Pretty loud. Imagine that the kudu, the animal that's carrying this horn, it has two of these and is quite heavy, especially when it's filled with the bone that comes inside. When I received it, it was already prepared that the bone's taken out. All I had to do was essentially straighten it, make the hole, and then polish it, and then we have this shofar. So here is a quick explanation about how shofar is made. I hope you enjoy this video, and wishing you all a happy new year, a Shana Tova, from the Shomron, from the mountains of Israel. Thanks for watching.